this is Chloe Bailey. All right, part of the Bailey sisters. I think it's Chloe and Halle is the one that's playing the mermaid in the hand-me-down Disney movie. I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but I think everybody knows my fucking feelings about that goddamn Little Mermaid movie and shit. But here we have Chloe here, Chloe Bailey, and currently she's all the rage because of her, well, her curves and everything. She's been exploring her young adulthood. Some people would probably say it's similar to the way that Miley Cyrus explored her young adulthood and shit in garish fashion. But that was all just like part of the plan. This right here, this is the usual. Yeah, I don't really see anything wrong with it. It's just a natural progression of somebody in show business, who started out as a child. They go through this, I don't want to say rebellious phase because maybe this is who she is deep down. And I'm not making a video about that shit, but currently, Chloe Bailey is all the rage. Besides her curves and the cheek itch and everything, which is, looks okay. Uh, she's all the rage for a show on Amazon Prime in which she engaged in a sex scene, where she, like I said, her curves are the star attraction. And in this scene, she was on all fours, getting her back blown out by the guy that's with Lori Harvey. I think he has some fucked up name. I don't know. I feel like a Family Guy skit, just trying to remember the fucker's name. Some black dude, okay? Some black dude, some brother, dark skinned brother was busting her shit out, And they knew it was going to be kind of weird, so she's been going around doing these interviews talking about how, everything was okay on the set, and they were, the guy cracked jokes and made her feel real comfortable with her first sex scene and everything. And she said that she said they had a beach ball down there so that they didn't touch. So he was just humping a ball, and it was pressed up against her ass. But like, I did a little digging. I can't actually post a picture, but I did a little digging, and there was no fucking ball there. Okay, somebody busted her balls on a certain part of the web. I'm not saying he hit it or nothing, but there was no fucking ball there. But it's the thing. It's like the thing. Women want to come out smelling like a rose when they make decisions. When they make risky decisions and shit. They don't want no fucking consequences. They don't want no accountability and shit. It's not about her accountability and shit. Actually, not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is I want to talk to young kings out there. Okay, especially straight black men. Okay, from the moment we leave the house and we start going into the school system, some people call it the school to prison pipeline and shit, whatever. From the moment we go in there, we're held to a certain standard. We're not actually seen as our actual age or whatnot. They treat us like, men, all right? And they react to us like men. They do weird shit. I remember when I was a kid, I was going through stuff. Older women, mostly black women, would be like acting like I'm a pervert or something, They act like I'm a fucking pervert. I'm like a little kid and shit. I'm not even going through this development. It didn't hit puberty yet. You had women saying, "Don't be looking at those girls. Don't be looking at those girls," and like fucking with you and saying like out of pocket shit. They're like now, like in my elder statesman era, if I heard some shit like that, I clap back immediately. Okay, and it helps me be a better parent to my younger son. So I talk to him a lot. I mentor him, the way a father should. All right, so we have Chloe Bailey here. She's going to be my proxy for like what I want to talk about and shit. Is that's what they this thing called the male gaze. The male gaze, okay? Feminists started this like these fucking frumpy ass feminists. These bitches think they had behind the door, but we can see them quite plainly and shit. We've been looking at them for years and shit since since Emmett Till, all right? Since the Emmett Till situation and whatnot. And that's what I'm talking. Like he was criminalized and shit. He was murdered. All right, and even before him, there were men murdered. In mass sometimes. But mostly like in the old days, our gaze, the male gaze, has always been criminalized and shit, penalized by death and disfigurement, and wholesale shunning. Shame, even in our own fucking community with our own goddamn women and shit. And you know how they say like women develop mentally, in advance of boys and shit. A lot of times when I was growing up, guys would relate their experiences with women of their own age, girls of their own age and shit. And the girl was so much sophisticated. The girl was just, giving them a tutorial of the private parts down there, you know. And whatever. Once you heard that, you were curious and shit, and you wanted to find out about it and shit. And what I remember when I was a little guy telling us about it and talking about it was like drugs and shit. Like once you engage in that shit, you would never stop wanting to do it and shit. So it gets like weird feeling about it. I won't go further, but I want to talk about the male gaze and shit. It's basically criminalizing, just regular natural, development, mental and otherwise. Your sexual identity is handcuffed and shit. Okay, and you got these women and shit. They have a double standard and shit. Okay, they develop before us and shit mentally, and as far as this the interpersonal shit with the sex and all this crap, and they lead the way and shit. They lead you into this bullshit. Okay, then I think I hate the double standard. I hate this shit talking about the male gaze. You get like some chick, uh, you know, yelling at some feminist mantra at you and shit while she got a fucking OnlyFans page shaking her ass, and that's her right and shit. But she shouldn't be upset when somebody's looking at this shit or somebody's looking at her. You got to shake this yelling this, yelling about the male gaze and everything, but she's wearing uh next to nothing. Okay, next to nothing and shit. I ain't saying one way or the other and shit. I'm just saying that I in large part, going forward in the future and shit, we've seen it recently, especially in the last year and a half. A lot of men are becoming indifferent to them when they're doing this shit, and they don't understand it and shit. It's just like years of being criminalized. Having my own, natural development and shit as a human being being criminalized and shit. Okay, every bit of it. I grew up like that. It was. I have some horrific stories I'm not gonna share about my own upbringing and shit with this kind of crap in the male gaze. It's fucking horrible, man. Growing up, the slave quarters down here, it's a gynocentric construct and shit, okay? So you're like in a fucking, like I was like call it a petri dish or, a fucking porta potty and shit that they want to sit their big fat ass on a lid and keep your ass trapped in that bitch until you stew over and your mind snaps, okay? But a lot of guys are just sneaking out of there, okay? The fucking male gaze, the criminalization of the male gaze and practical male development and shit is one of the reasons. Is one of the fucking reasons that guys started dating outside of the community and shit. Sometimes it just happened naturally and shit. You were pushed out of the community and shit by these, abrasive women and shit who criminalized you and talked shit to you and ran off at the mouth, was out of pocket and shit, all while flaunting their shit, making these bad decisions, uh, dating their preferences unabashedly and shit, but wagging a finger at you with the other hand about anything you might do and shit, telling you had to settle. Can't tell you how many times some low tier female came up to me. I had a female tell me I wasn't gonna get the woman I wanted. I might as well settle for her. She was built like a refrigerator and shit. She's like an Oprah looking motherfucker. And I told her where to go with that shit. And then I told the female I was talking to where to go with that shit too, because she wanted me to apologize to this sister for interfering in, our little date or whatever. Chick walked right in the middle of us. We all knew each other beforehand. And said that shit in front of. I'm like, man, you have no fucking filter, do you? You know? In our community, the women tell us we have to, sit in that fucking locker room and shit and wait for that light to come on, and then you come on out and you get a busted, you get a half-eaten sandwich. All right? I just say fuck it. Be more indifferent, okay? Be unapologetically masculine. Be selfish, to a fault. When you start going out with somebody that's like, okay, let's say you're going out with one of these women that like got a really curvy body, got all the ass and all that shit. Maybe it's real. Who knows these days? A lot of times, so if you're indifferent and shit, they have to default to the sexual aspect and shit just to get your attention and whatnot. Okay? Now, I remember back in the day, like, I don't want to say the number, but one of the women on my notch, one of the women on my belt, I had a high opinion of, but really, I guess I was kind of infatuated. And I was infatuated. We talked and everything. She could hold a conversation, but when we went into the academic arena, she was at a loss of words. She was like that right winger blogger or whatever that got caught when they asked her about woke and she didn't know how to describe it. She had that same reaction in the academic arena. Shit, it was mind boggling. You know, and I didn't get it at the time, but I do now. And I just say, hey, like Chloe here. Chloe says that she always had problems being curvy and she thought she was fat, and I think it's all bullshit. To me, maybe she really felt that way. But like she said that she hated being curvy when she was little and all this. So you see her now as she is shaking all that ass, you know, twerking and jiggling her body parts. She was raised religious and shit. We know how it goes in the church. In the religious arena and down here in the slave quarters is a bunch of bullshit. All right. Yeah, you look at Gold Queen, shaking that shit. And then somebody you'll see a woman doing some shit like this. They'll turn right around, put their finger in your face, and dress you down for the male gaze. You're this, that you're that. You're a pervert. You're a degenerate. You're a Weinstein or something. And I just say like, hey, fuck it, man. Hey, have at it. Have at it. We'll be indifferent. Men will grow indifferent and shit. And they'll seek options elsewhere. More natural options. What else you gonna do? What is she gonna do with these? It's like a massive fucking Stockholm syndrome and shit. And inferiority, superiority complex rules the day with our women. All right. Even when they say they're trying to understand us, they're really just looking for an angle to turn. Well, like a hustler I used to know. He had spent a good chunk of time in prison, and the motherfucker told me this one time, and then wonder why he never saw the back of my head again. But he told me, like, once the shit goes down, a dick ain't nothing but a handle to turn the motherfucker over with and shit. And after he told me that, he never saw the back of my fucking head. But like, I think like we can apply that mantra to like interactions with these supposed feminists and these women with these body issues and shit. Talking about my ass is my curves and shit. Guys are always relating to me in a sexual manner. I think you should be like blasé about it. You should be indifferent. You shouldn't. When she starts talking about her body issues and all that bullshit to you, if you aren't hitting it, or you laying in the bed with her with no clothes on, and you've enjoyed her body and her comfort, I don't think you should react to it. I think you should act like she didn't even say that shit and look at her with a blank stare. Okay? I want to say that I believe that on the planet, black women rank very, very high in sexual proficiency, but very, very low in everything else and shit. And it's driving the narrative in our community here in the colonies. Okay, it's driving the narrative because people are tired of it. This is all we see coming from her. I'm not shaming this woman for shaking her ass and doing whatever the fuck she's doing and shit. She's in show business and shit. A lot of people are talking trash about like what she's doing, and nobody's taking her to say, hey, Beyonce, she signed on to Beyonce's label and shit. Why don't they go talk to her? They can't do that because what's her name is above reproach, and she's her own religion. I can't go any further. The Beehive people might come over here fucking around on my channel and shit. Not that I would be worried about it, but hey, why get some needless bullshit? Okay, that's from the T crowd in Atlanta, South Sea Santana, Skittle Boys and shit. They can handle all that bullshit over there. I'm just, I'm making a commentary. I want young kings to develop a very thick skin. And when you hear someone talking about the male gaze, you should challenge them. You say, well, don't you understand, standard human development and shit? Men are visual creatures. You guys say it all the fucking time and shit. What am I supposed to do? You're criminalizing me for something I don't have any control over. You're a fucking bigot. Okay? You're a bigot. You're a sexist, okay? I'm gonna film you now. I remember they asked a bunch of women if a man could be assaulted, sexually assaulted. And a majority of them said no. They said no because they're getting something a gift and shit. I'm like, no, okay. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You're a sexist. Okay, and you're an asshole. All right, you should be excoriated. All right, and keep your head on the swivel. Okay, be indifferent above all else. Okay, be indifferent and shit. When you take away their only bargain and shit, what value do they have? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Anyway, it's been long enough and shit. I got to get the fuck off here, so I'll just leave you with my standard SYSBM equals what means or refers to save yourself, black man.
This message has been paid for by the Dusties. Yes, the niggas you love to hate.